No, you raped a 12-year-old girl, dude. You raped a 12-year-old girl. You 12-year-old girl in Tijuana. You told this story 4 times. 4 times, dude. You raped a 12-year-old girl in Tijuana. You raped a 12-year-old girl in Tijuana.
I didn't rape a 12-year-old girl in
Yeah,
Tijuana.
you did. You told this story 4 times. She was 12, dude. That was the age you said. She was 12, dude. 12-year-old girl in Tijuana.
No, I didn't. That's it. I remember 2 years ago, that lady assaulted me on stage because of this joke. In front of a packed room, she called me some crazy shit. And I remember Joe Rogan calling me.
With so much demand for our attention in today's world of smartphones and social media, it's becoming increasingly difficult to break through for entertainers, content creators, and everything in between. But when it comes to comedians, it's a whole different playing field. It's incredibly hard to come up with authentic and original content that makes us all laugh. This is where the phenomenon of comedians going too far comes from. It's this endless pursuit of pushing the envelope to squeeze out every last laugh from a seemingly dying audience. 10 years ago on the Opie and Anthony radio show, Bobby Lee told a story about an encounter with a supposedly underage prostitute in Tijuana. He's told it several times on subsequent podcasts, but eventually he was forced to address it on his own podcast, which we'll get to later. I'm going to play for you the original story he told on Opie and Anthony, and I'm going to compare it to other so-called edgy jokes and stories told by Tom Segura and Bill Burr. I want to get to the bottom of the controversy and hopefully answer some questions. At what point do we stop and say, you went too far, this isn't funny anymore, and it's so offensive that it could be harmful? Or maybe we all just need to chill and realize that these are just jokes. They're designed to entertain us and make us laugh. That's it. But what if they're not funny? Who decides if they are funny? And if most people agree that they're not, should we just cancel these comedians? So stick around and let me know your opinions in the comments below. Just quickly though, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of my uploads. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers, so if you enjoy this kind of commentary, make sure you subscribe to stay in the loop. Now to start off with, like I said, I'm going to play the original story told on radio by Bobby Lee himself. I think this is important because it's the most explicit version of all the iterations he's told over the years, and it wouldn't be fair to discuss it without referencing the original. But stick around because after that, we'll take a look at a couple of shorter jokes from Tom Segura and Bill Burr for comparison. This is going to be a longer video than usual, so feel free to use the timestamps below to jump around.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. This story could ruin my career.
Shut up. Come.
It could ruin me.
What?
This story.
Bobby,
Yeah.
hold on.
Did you kill someone?
Nothing can ruin your career. Nothing can ruin Asa's career, and nothing can ruin my career. We're the 3 people here that have unruinable. You're a fucking comedian.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Thank you so much.
The only thing it can do is make your career
Nice
better.
pep talk.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. You're my pillar and my strength. And okay, so anyway, I went down by myself, and the Adelita was packed with Marines, right? So I go, you know what? There's too many people. Especially you don't want to, like, when they come down from the stairs, you want to grab them then.
Sloppy
you know what I mean?
seconds.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Sloppy-
It's
Yeah.
gross.
Sloppy
right?
You don't want to
3,000.
know about.
Right, so there's a street in back of Adelita, and we used to call it Hooker Alley, right? And Hooker Alley had the really ugly ones that couldn't go in.
Nice.
And they had girls that we didn't know what their ages were.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Now, I don't know what the ages were. I just said
Well,
that.
do you ever really know the age of a hooker?
Yeah.
I'm going to repeat that. I don't know.
Well,
Okay.
even at the hooker whorehouse, you don't know.
Exactly.
In,
So thank you so-
Tijuana.
Yeah, you never know. Ever.
Yeah.
The most high-priced escort, do you really know her age?
And I also
No.
want to say this just to justify my actions. I was young and I never got girls.
Sarah,
Ever.
how old were you? Sarah, how old are you?
Oh, 19.
What year were you born?
94.
All right.
Yeah, that was right when then happened, when she was born. Okay. So I never got girls at all. Not even one. Not even one. Okay,
right.
I only started getting girls when I did stand-up comedy.
Right.
Okay, so here's what it is. So anyway, I go to Hooker Alley, and then when you go walk down, they grab you, right?
They're very aggressive.
Mister, right? They grab you, Mister, right? And you go, I'm an American, don't touch me. You know what I mean? That's what I used to do. I'm an American, right?
Do they call you Chino and
Yeah,
stuff?
Chino, you know what I mean? Like, Mister, and I go, don't touch me. And at the end of the thing, there was this girl, and she had her face toward the brick wall. She wasn't even facing out.
Oh my God, I know.
And that's when I knew. That's when I knew she was the one. Right?
She was like the fawns, just
Yeah. She was like kind of league,
She's
right?
like-
And I look, and she looked like Natalie Portman.
What?
Yeah, but like in the professional. Not that young, but you know.
She looked like she's like 50.
I don't know. I don't know how.
Let's not put a number on it.
Let's not put a
Let's
number.
not
She
put a number.
I
on
don't know
it.
the number, and you know what, God, I didn't know the number, and you know that for a fact, God. Okay.
She looked very young.
She looked
So
And you were very young.
I was very young too, yeah.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, you know, and she goes, you want to, you know, boom, boom, whatever. I go, yeah. So there's this place called the Miami Hotel at the end.
Nice.
Right? And it's
This
like,
place just sounds so classy.
it's straight out of the movie Seven.
So wait, you took her from Hooker Alley to the Miami.
Miami
Right.
Hotel, yeah. Sticky floors. They had all those fly traps, the yellow sticky things that stick out. There were so many flies, right? And it was like thick. It was like a thick place.
Right.
You know what I mean? It smelled
The
like
energy
a
in the
Cambodian
air.
jungle. Like the killing fields. It smelled like the killing fields.
Like
right?
years of cum just built
Oh,
up.
yeah. And sadness.
Yeah,
And
years
fear.
of
And fear.
Yeah. Like just soaked in fear tears.
Yeah. So I take her up to the room. Right, and that's what you give them $10. And
It
they
just
give,
smelled like.
Yeah, and they and they give you a towel, and in the towel is a condom and lube.
Okay.
Right? Which is nice for
Yeah.
$10.
That is really
Nice
nice.
little package.
Yeah, nice little package. We go upstairs.
You get to keep the towel?
No. I know you don't want to keep it. Right? There's stains on it. Discharge stains.
It still smells like cum after they clean it.
Yeah. So we get naked. I turn the lights off, right? And we're in bed now. And I put the condom on, and she's really cold. You know, I feel so bad saying this story.
Girls are always cool.
And so I stick it in. It's very tight, right? And then the moon is shining through
Did you use
little
the lube?
crack. No, the moon is shining through the window in a little crack.
Okay.
Right?
Very romantic.
Yeah, it's very romantic. yeah. And then her head turns, and the moon. I see her face.
Yeah.
And you can see tears coming down her face and snot bubbles, and she's shaking. Okay, why are you smiling, dude?
It's
So rude, bro.
It's his
That could have
sister.
been your sister.
It's
dude.
his sister.
Yeah, right. And so I did what anyone else would do. I power her. Right, just so I can get it over with. Right.
Wait, so it was probably her first.
I don't know. I don't want to get into it. All right. I don't know.
No, let's get
Dear-
into it.
Dear Lord, I don't know what happened.
She was
okay?
standing against the wall like this.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
And then she turned around.
Yeah, maybe she was showing off her ass. Like, this is good shit.
She was crying and snot.
Maybe
bubbles.
she wasn't even a hooker. Maybe she was like waiting for her mom.
She had night school.
Maybe she'd never seen an Asian before.
She's
Maybe she'd never seen an Asian before.
Oh, my agents are calling me right now.
No.
They know.
No, Critter, take his phone away
Okay,
from him.
they know.
okay.
So you're
You
like,
power
so you're
her?
like, I need to get this over with quick. I don't want to see her cry, and you jackhammered her.
Okay, I'm sweating right now. Listen to me. Can I just say this, though, just to reiterate, right? Where I am in life.
Yeah.
Okay. And number one, it's not like I feel good about it. I
No,
don't feel
we
good
can
about the
tell.
situation.
Yeah.
You know, I feel good about it. And you know what? In part 2 of the story, if you listen on, God gets his revenge.
On who? On you?
me. There's the God's revenge. That's why the second story needs
Did
to
you
happen.
get
No, something crazier.
Whoa, I don't.
what?
Oh, yeah. So,
Usually, when people talk about punishment, it's like rape, and then they're like rape or murder.
Yeah.
no,
So if
mine
it's-
was like,
And you're alive, so
yeah, it's crazy. Okay.
The Marines got you.
They saved me, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, they're a part of it.
Oh, so it was like immediate.
Can I just finish the story? So you don't want to talk about Godfather 2. Godfather 1's not done yet.
So she looks about 15, and you're
No, she's about 18 years old. Okay, guys. Anyway,
she's 18.
I don't know how old she is. Okay, guys.
She's 18, and she looks 15, and you're 22, and your dick looks 50.
Yeah.
Going is gonna get good.
So I power f- her, right, and then I just don't even say goodbye. I just put my clothes back down. I already paid her.
You ran out of there.
And ran out of there. And
How much?
$60
Nice.
at that time. So 2 weeks later, on a Wednesday, the same thing happened. They go, hey, you want to go to the Tijuana?
Wait, we're still in part 1 right now?
No,
Or-
part 1's over.
Oh, we're going to part 2.
Part 2's now, yeah.
Hey, awesome.
All right, part 2 now.
No
okay?
cliffhanger.
No
Going right
cliffhanger.
into
Yeah,
part 2.
Yeah.
Juggernaut story.
Right, so part 2 is this. The guys at work are, hey, we're going to go to Tijuana. I go, I'm not going to go. Right? And they go, all right, well, I guess we're not going to go either. Okay, yeah, all right, I think it's wrong. They go, okay.
Wait, you were like the leader. They would only go if you went?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I go, okay. But I actually wanted to go by myself. I wanted to go myself to find her again. Natalie Portman. Right? I have my hunt for Natalie
Circa
Portman.
the professional.
Right?
You couldn't stop thinking about her the
Yeah, I
whole
couldn't
week.
stop thinking about her. So I go to Hooker Alley, and there's no one there. There was a raid.
Oh.
Okay? There was some sort of weird raid.
That's the first part of the story, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to access the rest of it from the original radio show. So here's Bobby Lee summarizing the second part.
So let's just give you the run through of what the second half of the story is. I go back to Tijuana a week later, a Mexican guy who's albino, dwarf, with freckles on his face, and orange hair, okay? And 3 of his buddies, they lure me outside of Tijuana, 15 blocks, where there's no street lights. I say three-legged dogs, right? And I'm just walking, where are we going?
Yeah.
Why would I? They lure me into an alley, right? And then these 4 people, they pull out a machete, they put it to my neck, right? But granted, also, I'm 20 years old. You know, I mean, look at any photos of me at 20 years old. I'm just this tiny little guy, machete to the neck. I somehow escape, right? Then I run 20 blocks in the pitch black because there's no lights, running. And I remember I said this joke. I was running like Carl Lewis, because there was no Hussein Bolt back then.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh, that's
That was
true.
It's true.
that
Right, there's no
reference
Hussein.
This is
There's no
pre-Usain
Hussein.
Bolt.
Right. And then out of nowhere, 30 black,
All black.
all black U.S. Marines, they show up, they scare.
I mean, not Mexican Marines, right?
No, not Mexican.
Yeah.
And they show up and they scare the 4 guys. They chase after the 4 guys, even the little dwarf. You know, can I say dwarf? The redheaded albino dwarf with
Little
freckles on
person,
his, you know.
You can say that, yeah.
Yeah. And then these 30 black Marines, they walk me to the border.
Okay, first things first. I don't find that story funny at all. In fact, I think it's pretty disgusting. It doesn't offend me or hurt my feelings or anything like that, but it's just not my kind of humor. It's lazy, it's unnecessarily explicit, and it's not my vibe. Okay, fine. Before we take a look at how Bobby finally addressed the story earlier this year, let's take a quick look at a Tom Segura bit, which some of you may have seen already. I'll give you my thoughts in a moment.
I took a shower with the 6-year-old. He's 6, he's not 16. If you've never showered with a 6-year-old, let me give you some advice. Make sure it's yours. Otherwise, it's strange if you're like, what's your name? He's my son. And I wanted to, I was trying to be like a fun dad. I offered him the shower head. I thought it was a fun, in the moment thing. I go, do you want to hold the shower head? And he was like, yeah. I give it to him. He just starts cleaning the shower. So, after a minute, I'm like, can you wet me? And he goes, Tom, relax, all right? And then he looks up at me. He goes, you have a big penis. And I have a small one. I go, well, that's because mine's hard, buddy. We can make yours hard, too. Just gotta go like that. No. I did not jerk off my son. I just always wanted to say that.
Okay, so this joke is okay. I think it's pretty funny. He's clearly joking, but it's still kind of gross. Again, not really my vibe, but I can still appreciate it for what it is. So then finally, let's take a look at one of my all-time favorite comedians, Bill Burr. I've got 2 jokes from him, and I'll give you my thoughts straight after.
No, we have these huge battles. You know what the maddest she ever got at me was? One time she was watching this show, it was like a poor excuse for The View, and they started talking about domestic violence, right? For the 9 millionth time this year, they're talking about domestic violence, just in case, you didn't get the memo, Evidently, just some people didn't get it. It's not okay to slam your wife's head into the cupboard drawers because she didn't dry the can opener off properly, It's gonna fucking rust, right? How do you not know not to do that shit? Do they really have to keep talking about it? It's like wife beaters watching for, now I get it. Ups a daisy, sweetheart, here we go. There you go, oh. So at the end of the hour, they come to the logical conclusion. They're like, there is no reason to hit a woman. There is no reason to hit a woman. And I was just like, really? I could give you like 17 right off the top of my head. You could wake me from a drunken stupor, I could still give you like 9. Dude, there's plenty of reasons to hit a woman. You just don't do it. But to sit there and suggest that there's no reason. Dude, the level of ego behind that statement. What are you, levitating above the rest of us? You're never annoying? Been in a bad mood all day, man. Got in a fight with this girl the other day. You ever meet somebody like within like the first couple of minutes of them meeting you, they feel like they can like sum you up? Just like, you know what your problem is? You just have like the urge just to take their head and just mush it into whatever they're eating, You ever have crazy thoughts like that? Can you relate on any level? You never have like urges? You ever drive down the street and see like 30 people up on the sidewalk and you just think, right? You don't do it, you just think it. That's what separates the psychos from the functioning psychos. Yeah, psychos, they just do it. All right, that's a good idea. They get the wipers going, they make a day out of it, right? But a rational person, you like think it through. You start going, man, if I just leave my hand right here, nobody knows who I am. I move it 2 degrees over here. I'm on the cover of Newsweek. I'm instantly famous. Right here, no one knows me. Like, hey, Bill, you want to go to the cookout? Maybe you could bring that potato salad you brought last year. It was such a big hit. One of the most horrific scenes we've seen in years. Bodies just strewn about. Amy's gonna be there. She's still asking for you. You should ask her out. No indication he even tried to stop. Seriously, you're getting older. Put your hands on the dashboard. Put them on the dashboard. You have those? All right.
Okay, so at this point, we're all up to speed and we're all on the same page. That Bill Burr joke about running people down is probably one of the best jokes he's told and could even be one of my personal favorite jokes. It's so well structured, he sets it up well, he makes use of sound effects, it's unpredictable, but it still feels natural at the same time. That's a fucking hard joke to write. It requires patience and intelligence and lots of hard work, like most good things. Bill Burr has a way of taking very serious issues like domestic violence and murder and making them so comical that it's hard to take offense from them. Clearly, he's joking, and he's very good at it. Now, Tom Segura is one of my top 10 comedians, even though he's a massive douchebag. I love his stand-up, especially his earlier stuff before he became a douchebag, but like Bill Burr, he has a way of putting a joke together that's both intelligent, edgy, and unpredictable. Not that he's in the same league as Bill Burr, so let's just calm down for a minute. But let's get back to Bobby Lee, because he actually took half an hour out of one of his podcasts a few months back to address the growing anger over his Tijuana joke. Let's take a look at what he had to say, and then we can put it all together and compare all three comedians.
I want to start off this podcast a little differently, guys.
Okay,
all right?
what's happening?
And I have to, there's two versions of Bobby Lee, right? There's the podcast version, but I have to put on the real Bobby Lee version on for just this first segment, if you guys don't mind.
I don't mind.
Okay. So I want to address this Tijuana story. There's a Tijuana story that I told on Opie and Anthony. Don't do this with your fucking thing. Don't do that. I told many, many years ago on Opie and Anthony, and there's been an uptick, an uproar about this story, and I've always wanted to talk about it, but the people around me are like, you know what, you didn't do anything, it'll die down, but I'm always like, yeah, but I can explain it, and people are always like, yeah, I don't think you should, because you don't want to you want people to focus on it, and this last couple of weeks have been so bad. I just need to say something, and I'm not, it's easily explainable. And so let's start from the genesis of the beginning. You have to imagine it's the best comics on planet Earth at the time. You have Jim Norton, Patrice O'Neill, Greg Giraldo, Robert Kelly, and these guys are just like fast, edgy, shocky, and at the time I was just doing dad jokes, and I just left. And I told the guy, I don't ever want to do that show ever again. It's just not my thing. So then the following year, I go back to Caroline's, and they go, you didn't sell any tickets. And Opie and Anthony is on the schedule, and I go, what? I don't want to do it. Don't make me do it. And they go, you have to, right? No one's going to come, and they have a big audience. So this time I was like, I'm going to do two things differently. The first thing I'm going to do is self-deprecation, because what happened before is like they make fun of you, right? And so I wanted to get ahead of it, and I was like, no, I'm going to rip myself apart. And the second thing I did was I'm just going to say the craziest shit they've ever heard, because that's what that show was, right? You have to understand it was before cancel culture, and the things that we're saying were, at a high level of shock. And I was just like, you know what?
Yeah, you ate like bull testicles.
Yeah, I know.
on there.
Absurdity. It's absurd.
Right. It was delicious, by the way. So, at the time I had two jokes in my act, right?
Yeah.
The first joke, and they would only work maybe 40%, 30% of the time. The first joke was, it's not as bad. It's like, I went on a date the other day. She seemed pretty young. She looked like Natalie Portman. Mm-hmm. Pause.
Puppy.
Yeah.
From the movie Professional, right?
Laugh.
It's a switch.
Yeah.
That's what that kind of joke is.
Dark.
The second one, wait for the second one. It's way worse.
Gulp, gulp, gulp.
It's way worse, the second one. The other joke that I could only get work 20% of the time was, my girlfriend's grandma died a couple of weeks ago. And last night we were making love, and she burst into tears while we were making love. And I did what any good boyfriend would do. I power her.
Yeah, 20%.
Yeah, 20%.
20%. That's a 20%.
It's a harsh joke. It's fucking terrible. And I took the Natalie Portman joke, that joke. I made up this Tijuana, story.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
You added 30 black Marines to your.
I know. I'm going to get to that.
I've heard about this.
Right. So then, but in my mind, I'm like, no one ever talks about the second half of the story.
The
right?
crazy part.
The crazy part. They focus on the Natalie Portman, whatever. It's terrible. Yeah. It's awful. Okay. But the second half is so crazy and, easily it didn't, it's obvious it didn't happen. So let's just give you the run through of what the second half of the story is. And that's it. I remember 2 years ago, that lady assaulted me on stage because of this joke in front of a packed room. She called me some crazy shit. And I remember Joe Rogan calling me after that, and Joe going, dude, remember, and he didn't talk about that. He talked about how crazy Opie and Anthony was back in the day, the kind of shit that we would say. And it was like okay to say shit back then. Yeah. It was a different time. I'm not the same generation as Santino or Andrew Schultz or Chris DiStefano. I'm way older. You know what I mean? I'm like a couple of generations. I look good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do.
I look good.
Yum, yum.
And I'm still relevant.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm still older than those guys. So I've seen different periods in comedy. I was around when comedy was completely dead and no one would go to comedy clubs. I was there during the uprise of it, and I was able to benefit during the podcast years. I was there during the shock jock years. And I've tried to bend and twist and conform to different eras of comedy, and I think I've done that for the most part. People have also asked, like, why would you tell that story more than once? And
My question: if it was true, why would you say it that many times?
Yeah, exactly. And it's an easy explanation. Like, you know, I've talked for 10,000 hours. You know what I mean, on podcasts and radio shows. You know, I started in 1995, and you have stories in a file. You know what I mean? I have maybe 60 stories that if I'm stuck or, you know, I don't know what to say, I just pull these things out randomly, you know what I mean, depending on the environment. And that's why, like, when I said this story 10 years ago on Tiger Belly, I completely left out the Natalie Portman thing, right? Because you just kind of just say it. You don't remember how it really goes, but you know the bullet points, and you just kind of make shit up again.
Okay, so even before Bobby addressed the Tijuana story, I knew it was a bit. It's so obvious that it's made up. If you followed Bobby Lee for more than 5 minutes, you'd know that 99% of what comes out of his mouth is just pure bullshit. He's a jokester, just like Theo Von, for example. They're both masters at talking shit. So I didn't need to hear that from Bobby Lee to rest easy or anything like that. And having said that, even though I think it's a disgusting story that isn't really funny, who cares? Don't listen to it. If you don't like Bobby Lee and his style of shit talking, just don't listen to him. Unsubscribe, block him, do what you've got to do. But trying to cancel him over a completely made up story? Come on now, who the fuck are you to assume your feelings are more important than a comedian's right to freedom of expression? Now, I will say it didn't help him that he told the story on a radio show and some podcasts instead of during stand-up. I mean, that's what I think added to the offense taken by so many snowflakes. Not only that, but Bobby Lee's made a career out of deadpan humor. So for people with no social skills, it's easy to get confused and think he's actually being serious. Just like his Down syndrome joke. That's completely made up as well. But it's not Bobby's job to seek your approval for every joke he makes. Like I said, no one's forcing you to listen to him. As for Tom Segura and Bill Burr, their styles are very different. First of all, their jokes had the benefit of being told during their stand-up as opposed to on the radio or on a podcast. And the way they deliver it is with a playful humour. In Bill Burr's case, it's closer to whinging. But that doesn't make Bobby Lee's story more cancelable than Segura or Burr. I think we all need to get a grip and take ownership of our own feelings instead of projecting our insecurities onto comedians who are just telling jokes. They're just jokes, and if you don't find them funny, tough luck because other people do. Take it from me, like I said, I'm not a fan of Bobby Lee's Tijuana Story. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd be interested to know. Remember, best comment gets pinned. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button and become a subscriber so you don't miss out on any of my uploads. I'll chat to you guys soon. See you in the next one.
When I was in when I was 9, I got molested by a guy with Down syndrome.
Don't laugh, Brandon.
I'm not laughing.
Why'd you laugh?
It's just
That's fucking rude.
It's such a curveball.
I know. Can I just say something? I'm going to say it again, and if you smile, I'm going to leave.
Okay. But
No,
hold
I'm being
on.
real. If you smile,
All
I'm
right,
gonna fucking leave.
hold on.
That really fucking broke me.
No.
All right, hold on.
All right, so
Give me a
I swear
sec.
to fucking God, dude.
I know.
Give me
I
a
will
second.
leave, Chin Chin.
All right, hold on.
You can't make a joke and
That's his name.
All right, but
that's not his name?
Yeah.
What's your name again?
Chin Chin.
Chin Chin.